Welcome to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. And now, it's time for our story. Once upon a time, there was a Babirusa named Dwi. Dwi the Babirusa lived in the dense green forests of Indonesia. Dwi was a very special Babirusa because he had the most wonderful family in the world. His mom was gentle, his dad was strong, and he had lots of cousins and aunts and uncles to play with. But the member in Dwi's family that he loved the most was his tiny baby piglet sister. "Oh, she's so cute," Dwi the Babirusa would say every day as he watched his baby sister waddle around on her short, wobbly legs. Dwi loved spending time with her. He'd sit by her while she snuggled next to their mom, or he'd follow her around the muddy forest floor as she tried to explore, often tripping over little roots and squealing in delight. Dwi the Babirusa loved everything about his little sister. But there was one thing that made him sad. She was growing up. Why do babies have to grow up so fast? Dwi sighed one day, looking at his mother. She's already bigger than she was last month, and soon she'll be almost as big as me. I don't want her to grow up. I like her just the way she is. His mother smiled and said to Dwi the Babirusa, "Babies grow up because that's how life works, Dwi. If your sister stayed a baby forever, she wouldn't be able to do all the fun things we do as bigger Babirusas." "But she's just so cute as a baby," Dwi the Babirusa pouted. Dwi didn't want to accept it. He thought all about the fun he had with his sister now, like when they would play chase around the big trees, or when he showed her how to sniff around for food and the best-tasting roots with her tiny snout. What if she wasn't as cute and playful when she got bigger? He imagined her getting all grown up and serious, like his older cousins, who were always busy and didn't have time for silly games. That night, Dwi the Babirusa couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about how life would change when his little sister grew up. "What if she doesn't want to play with me anymore?" he whispered to himself. The thought made him sadder and sadder. The next morning, Dwi decided to avoid his sister. He thought that if he didn't spend as much time with her, maybe it wouldn't hurt as much when she grew up. So, instead of playing their usual games, Dwi the Babirusa went off by himself to the deeper parts of the forest. There, he found a perfect spot of mud where he could wallow in. Babirusas love wallowing in mud. It cools them down and keeps bugs away from their skin. But even as he splashed around, making silly noises and covering himself in thick, gloopy mud, Dwi's mud wallowing couldn't shake the feeling of sadness in his heart. While Dwi the Babirusa was sulking in the mud, he heard tiny footsteps behind him. He turned around and he saw his baby sister standing at the edge of the mud, looking at him with wide, curious eyes. She let out a tiny squeak, asking him, "Why aren't you playing with me?" Dwi sighed. "I'm just thinking, little sis. Yeah, you wouldn't understand. You're too little." His sister tilted her head. Then, without warning, she leaped into the mud with him. She rolled around, splashing mud everywhere. She even managed to get some mud on Dwi the Babirusa's face. And for the first time that day, he laughed. "Oh, okay, Dwi chuckled, giving in to his sister's playful attack. They spent the rest of the day splashing and sliding in the mud together. And just for a moment, Dwee the Babirusa forgot all about his worries. Later that day, after they had cleaned off, Dwee noticed something. His sister had gotten a little faster at running, and she had even started digging a little in the mud like he did. She wasn't just a tiny baby anymore. She was growing and learning, just like their mother had said. That night, as the family settled down to rest, Dwee the Babirusa curled up next to his mother. "I don't want her to grow up," he said softly, watching his sister snuggle into their mother's side. "But Dwee," the mother gently said, "if she doesn't grow up, she won't be able to learn all the things you're teaching her. She looks up to you, you know. You're helping her learn how to be a Babirusa." Dwee thought about that for a moment. His little sister was learning. She was learning how to look for food, how to play in the mud, and how to be part of their big Babirusa family. If she stayed a baby forever, she wouldn't be able to run and play the way he did. She wouldn't get to grow strong or explore new parts of the forest with him. The next morning, Dwee the Babirusa felt a little better. He watched as his sister chased after some butterflies, her little legs working harder and faster than ever before. She was still cute, just in a different way. As the days passed, Dwee stopped worrying so much. Instead, he focused on spending time with his sister, teaching her everything he knew about being a Babirusa. They explored the forest together, found the tastiest roots, and splashed in the mud whenever they could. One day, while they were looking for food, his sister found a good-tasting root and looked up at Dwee the Babirusa with her big, bright eyes and squeaked happily. "I found one!" Dwee the Babirusa smiled. His baby piglet sister was growing up, but she was still his baby sister. And as she grew, so did their bond. Dwee realized that growing up wasn't such a bad thing after all. It meant that they could share new adventures and make new memories. And so, under the tall trees of the Indonesian forest, surrounded by the sounds of birds and rustling leaves, Dwee learned that growing up is just a part of life, and it could be just as wonderful as being a baby. And the Babirusa lived happily ever after. The end. The Babirusa lives in Indonesia's forests and swamps, and they're known for their long, curvy tusks. And they can be found in the Indonesian islands of Sulawesi, the Togian Islands, Sula, and Buru. There are 4 types of Babirusas: the North Sulawesi Babirusa, the Buru Babirusa, Bolo Batu Babirusa, and the Togian Babirusa. The male Babirusas, or boars, are known for their tusks, which curl up toward their eyes, and if they're not worn down or broken, they can grow long enough to pierce the animal's skull. The females, or sows, can have small tusks or none at all, and their tusks help protect them from predators. And even though their tusks look tough, Babirusas are peaceful and don't really fight that often. Scientists are not really certain about the true purpose of the Babirusa's tusks. The word Babirusa in the Malay language means pig deer. They have barrel-shaped bodies and can be from 2 to 3 feet long, and some can weigh up to 220 pounds. They have thick gray and brown wrinkled skin covered sparsely with bristly hair. Babirusas have slender snouts and have long and slender legs with hooves that help them dig and run and even swim. Babirusas can run up to 30 miles per hour. Babirusas have been known to swim from island to island. Babirusas can stand on their back legs to reach fruit that are hanging from trees. Babirusas have a two-chambered stomach, similar to cows and sheep. Babirusas love living in rainforests, swamps, and near rivers and watery areas. Babirusas love being in mud. It helps them keep cool and helps get rid of insects and parasites on their skin. Babirusas are omnivores. They love eating fruit, leaves, insects, or sometimes small fish. Their noses and hooves help them dig in the ground to find food. And they love eating roots too. Babirusas usually live alone or in small groups with their families. Babirusa babies are called piglets. Babirusas can live from 10 to 24 years. Babirusas are often active during the day and they sleep at night. Babirusas are endangered, which means there are not many left in the wild. Have you seen a real-life Babirusa before? If you have, where did you see it? Thanks for listening to Animal Stories for Kids. If you like our stories, please give us a 5-star rating, subscribe to our podcast, and share it with your friends and family. Until next time, bye! If your child enjoys cats, drawing, or writing, you might also like my Everyday Cats Journals. They're a 4-book journal series, each with fun covers showing cats with human bodies doing silly and everyday things. Inside, kids can look for little objects from the cover that appear in the top corners of the pages and try to find them all as they write or doodle. The Everyday Cats Journals are available on Amazon. You can find all the details in the show notes.